I mean, is it possible that Barb can come back in season 4?
My name is Ryan and you're watching Goreism, the channel where I fill your void on all things horror, weird, and just plain creepy. Today we're talking about Stranger Things season 4. I have been waiting for a very, very long time for this. This is going to be the top 5 things that you should know / be excited about. These are things that I'm super excited about and I think you probably will be too, before watching the 4th season of Stranger Things.
And just for context, I am a huge Stranger Things fan. I love the first season, all the characters and nostalgia of the 80s, very, Goonies, It vibes. And that to me was something that I really, really enjoyed. The second season, I thought there were some issues that I had, but the third season, everything kind of came around, and I thought the third season was really, really great. Apparently, this new season takes place 6 months after the events that took place at Starcourt Mall. So even though for us, it's been years, the new season is going to pick up kind of like where that left off. So I'm interested to see kind of where that goes. Starting with number 5, though the 4th season hasn't even come out yet, I think it's worth noting that the Duffer Brothers have also already started kind of putting wheels in motion for the season 5, which is great because now we know that it's for sure going to happen. Though we're not exactly sure how it's going to happen, I think it's something that is exciting to us fans because now we know that this isn't the end and that there are possible things that are going to happen at the end of this season that could affect how next season goes. The Duffer Brothers, the creators, have already started putting things in motion. They already basically know what's going to happen in the story. They know how it's going to end. So though they might not know kind of what happens in the middle, I think they're kind of probably waiting to see what the audience reception is going to be. Matt and Ross Duffer said, once we actually really sit down and write down that final season, anything could change. Matt added, but I doubt the ending is going to change. It's conceivable that it changes, but I think it's unlikely because it's one of those endings that just feels and always felt right. It's also sort of inevitable. So we're not really sure what that means, though I feel like seemingly it points to something big happening with some of the characters, whether it be Eleven or Will or Joyce or Hopper, any of them. We're not really sure kind of where it's going to go, but I'm very excited to kind of see what happens because ultimately it's exciting for us because we want to see like where the character arcs are going to go. The Duffer Brothers also recently were speaking to Variety magazine and they said that there's going to be a spinoff that they have in mind. They don't have any specific details, which is interesting because I don't know. How do you guys feel about a spinoff? I'm just curious to know. A spinoff could be a really good idea after this. So this whole thing just makes it feel like it's really not the end. There's so much more story to tell. Number 4, the timeline of this season and how long it took for us to get it. Essentially, it has been 3 years since the last season. So we are getting a fully fleshed out season 4, that it took a really long time to make. And I think ultimately it is going to show, some of the reviews are coming in that the show is bigger and it's better visual effects, better cinematography, et cetera, et cetera. So I think they really put their time and effort, and a lot of times with these shows that are so popular, the networks really want them to pump out season after season. And so, sometimes we're getting like season 1 and then a year later, season 2 and then season 3. So as of today, the critic reviews are coming in for Stranger Things and it's sitting pretty at like 88%, which I think is pretty good. And, though it's just critic reviews and I always take them with a grain of salt, even with everything that happened and how the show filmed and how long it took for us to get it, Netflix is doing something a little bit different than they've done in the past as far as Stranger Things goes. They are releasing chapters 1 through 7, which is episodes 1 through 7, tomorrow, May 27th. And then they're releasing chapters 8 and 9 on July 1st. I do almost wish it was like a weekly release, kind of how WandaVision did. I thought that was a really great way to keep fans interacted. It was like every week there was a whole new premiere and everything, so it almost felt, I don't know. I guess either way, I'm happy to have the show regardless. So I'm excited to see like kind of where it goes, and I'm assuming that after episode 7, it's going to be a big like cliffhanger and then the season finale. Number 3, deeper character dynamics. This is something that I am really looking forward to for the Stranger Things, only because now we're getting separate storylines from different parts of, the world basically. We're still getting a new horror, which is high school. On top of that, we're getting a bunch of new characters. A few of them are Jamie Campbell Bower's Peter, Eduardo Franco as Argyle, Mason Dye as Jason, and there are a few others also. I think ultimately the characters in the show are characters that we've all invested in and we're all feel like we have a connection with. But I think that as it's approaching a new season, season 4, I feel like it is important to add new life into the show, and I think all of these new characters will do that. And I think it's important at this stage in the show to have a different dynamic, and I think it will just ultimately like give us things to look forward to, and also it will only help our other characters. And I think that these characters are there to support whatever storyline that the show is going to have, and I think that's a really great thing. Number 2, a darker season. Many of the cast have stated they believe the upcoming season is going to be the darkest yet, and that to me is music to my ears, only because I feel like we lost a little bit of the horror in season 2. I thought season 3 was pretty dark and it kind of like brought it back a little bit, but I do feel like it's really great for the show to kind of go back to where it started. Showrunners Matt and Ross Duffer called season 4 their Game of Thrones season, stating, "We thought this was a good year to put them in a full-fledged Nightmare on Elm Street-esque horror film." And that to me is probably the coolest thing you could say to get me to like anything. So Finn Wolfhard was basically comparing Stranger Things to Harry Potter, in the sense that he was saying, as the Harry Potter cast got older, they were filming the movies kind of growing up on screen, and as they were getting older, the films were getting darker and darker as it went. He said, as those movies went on, the darker they went. That's kind of where we're at now. Inherently, it becomes darker every season. It gets funnier, it gets scarier, it gets more dramatic. I think that comes with us all growing up and getting older. We're not all going to be in mop top wigs when we're 40 screaming about demigorgons and stuff. Look, I am confident when I say I can speak for the horror community that we are excited for a darker season. I think that season 2 leaned a little bit more into the comedic aspects of the show, while season 3 was a little bit darker. I still feel like maybe something that was missing was that horror element, and apparently we're gonna get that. And the number one thing to be excited for about this upcoming season, do I need to say anything else but Robert Englund? So if there's one thing that you need to know about me, it's that I am a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan. I have been, ever since I was a little kid, Freddy Krueger is my top horror villain. Nightmare on Elm Street is my number 1 favorite horror film and franchise, and the fact that he is a part of a show that I really love is something very, very exciting. And I also think, whether you're a fan of him or not, I think knowing how much he brings to a character is really exciting for Stranger Things, because I think he has like such a great dynamic and he understands the assignment. And it kind of feels like a season of Buffy where they have like the big bad of every season, but the fact that he is a human of sorts, I think makes him that much more menacing and much more scary, because he is a person and he obviously speaks. We've heard him in the trailers, and that just is something to look forward to, because now we know there is a human element of the big bad this season, and that is something that I'm very, very excited about. And I'm even like just stoked to see him on screen and be a part of such a big show. You can kind of even see in the background of the main poster, you see like his eyes, and I think that is like an ode to Freddy Krueger. In my mind, it's an ode to Nightmare on Elm Street, and I don't know if that's the case, but it seems like that. So those are my top 5 things that I think you should be excited about / know for season 4 of Stranger Things. And thanks again for joining me here at Gorism, the channel where I essentially talk to you about everything horror related. I'm so excited for season 4 and to dive into that. But before I do, like, subscribe, follow, let me know what you think. Are you a fan of season 3, or do you like season 2 better, or do you prefer season 1? I'll talk to you soon.